What's an easy, foolproof way to make sure that you get enough protein to gain muscle without probably getting too much, and to make it easy without having to track everything you eat? Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would make a quick video on this, but if you guys will please give me a like down below, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed or following, please do so, and drop me a comment down below with your thoughts on how much protein you take in, whatever. All right, let's get over to the topic. This always creates some controversy when I say this, but the research is overwhelming. Look, about 1.4 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and muscle growth kind of caps out. Meaning, beyond that, it's just calories. Like, protein that you're taking in beyond that is probably calories. In some cases, with extreme overfeeding, we can get minor recomposition. A little bit of fat loss potentially even when trying to force a surplus, but we're talking hundreds and hundreds of grams, like 400, 500 grams of protein, and we don't necessarily need that. And I want people to understand that protein overfeeding is very minor. So set all that aside. That is extreme hypotheticals that have been shown in studies, but it's for most people that's extreme, it's excessive, and there's probably no need for it. And even the 1 gram per pound of body weight, it's more than we need, and I'm not saying it's bad. But let's say people say, look, I just want to make sure I quickly get enough protein every day to gain muscle. And again, we know most of it needs to be animal source. But I don't want to track everything I eat. I just want a loose idea of my calories and a loose protein. What's the easy, foolproof way to do it? Okay. So, and I think people are going to laugh at how simple this is. Obviously, there are exceptions or outliers. Look, if you're at 240 pounds and you use 2 grams of steroids a week, you may not find this rule as helpful. Okay? For everybody else, especially drug-free lifters, okay? Look, what I would recommend, just track, assuming you're eating all whole foods like I recommend. If you're a man, just make sure that you get 100 grams of protein from animal source. Women, 70 grams from animal source. And just fill in the rest with whole foods. You don't need to track your protein further. You'll probably get everything you need. Now, people are going to hear this. You're going to be like, what? How does that hit those numbers? Until they start doing the math. And then you realize 95% of the time you'll be in that range. Okay, so what are you looking for? Around that 1.4 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Well, what's that for me? I'm walking around at 95 kilograms right now. So what is my target range there? 95 to 1.4. Well, that's about 133 up to about 150, a little more, 155 grams of protein. Okay? Right? Is it not? I think that it is. So how about someone who's a little less? You do the math on it. People say, well, how's that going to add up? So let's assume just whatever you eat, just chicken, brown rice, broccoli. All right, so let's assume you eat just enough chicken to get 100 grams of protein. All right, you eat a couple cups of brown rice. Actually, let's say you go up to, 1,500 calories of brown rice, and you throw in a cup or two of broccoli. How much protein is that? It's probably about 40 up to about 50 grams of protein just from the plant stuff. Now, people say, but is it not as good? Well, that's why we said the first 100 grams. So where are you at? You got 150 grams of protein. Now, that's 150. That puts you right in that ideal situation, actually above it very easily. All right, I want to be clear. That's only about 2,200 calories. All right, most of you are going to eat more than that. So as long as you get that, it doesn't matter. Right? Same thing for women. It'll only be about 30 grams less, but even then they're going to get 110, 120. Look, if you do that, you're going to hit that 1.6 really, really, really easily for most people, especially anyone not on steroids. Now, see how easy that is? Okay? Look how easy that is. There's going to be a few outliers, but here's the thing. If you're an outlier, someone says, well, I'm a hard gainer and I struggle to eat enough and that's too much protein. Okay, well you could drop it a little lower, 140 pound guy or whatever, that's fine. Okay, you could drop it to the 80 from animal and then fill in the rest. But if you're eating whole foods, you're going to get a lot of incidental protein, and that does add up. People act like plant proteins don't count. They do count towards your protein. As long as a sizable amount of it's coming from animal source, we're still good in the total mix as far as balancing the total amino acid profile. All right, And no, we're not even talking about going down to the RDA, because notice I said 100 grams of animal protein from men. Well, we all lift. We're talking about trying to gain muscle, right? We're talking about trying to gain muscle. I mean, realistically, even if someone didn't even want to bother with meat, they could just grab 4 protein shakes and just eat a bunch of grains and nuts and peanut butter and whatever else. They're going to still hit 150 grams easy, if not more. But look at those numbers. That's above what we need for maximum muscle growth for a guy who's 160, 150 pounds. So that's super easy. But what about a guy like me? I mean, I'm still in that optimal threshold. So this covers a wide range of stuff, but then you're not tracking, you're not worrying about anything. It's just like, oh man, how do I get that? Then you realize, wow, about a pound of chicken breast, about 400 grams of chicken breast a day. That hits that 100. If you're in a hurry, you don't want to cook out with half a tub of Greek yogurt and 2 protein shakes. Done. Okay, if we're eating whole foods, start adding that up. You realize very quickly 30, 40, 50, 60 grams of protein a day from your whole foods if you're eating any decent amount of calories. I don't care whether it's nuts, grains. The only thing that's a little lower might be fruit. Potatoes, you're still good. Fruit might be a little on the lower end, but then here we go. So then people are like, well, what if I wanted to do all watermelon or something, or bananas or apples or whatever? Well, it's going to be a little lower, but did you get that 100 grams from the animal source? Well, you're probably still okay unless you're a bigger guy up to, over 200 pounds. You're probably still in the clear. But here's the thing, you don't have to track anything. As long as you look at it and go, as long as I get for a man 100 grams of that animal source, for most women, 70 grams. If they're a really small woman, okay, they could drop it to 60 grams. Okay, as long as you're getting that from a whole food animal source, like I didn't need to be a whole food, it can be a protein shake. As long as it's an animal source, high bioavailable protein, you're going to end up hitting that range, and anything above that number doesn't cause more muscle growth. It might have some metabolic benefits, but muscle growth isn't one of them. So see how easy this is? A person could just literally do a chicken, rice, and vegetable type diet. And as long as you go, man, I better get that 400 grams of chicken a day, or just under a pound of chicken breast. This is before you cook it. You'll hit those numbers. That's it. You're in the clear. You've reached it. This is a simple way for someone who doesn't want to track every gram of protein to make sure that they are getting enough to maximize their muscle growth, even if they're just at maintenance and recomping, or a very, very slow cut, or a very slow clean bulk. You're covered. You're in the clear. This is super simple, foolproof. It will work for everyone, but the outliers, like a big guy on plenty of gear, maybe not, or a 6'5" guy who's 260. Okay, it might come up a little short. He might need to add 20 grams. Done.